This guy almost got
so stop breaking internet phones on your friend of scam he committed in 2005.
Primaries in the
I mean, this
Democratic
is
Party. Encouraged him to step out. The Democratic Party encouraged him to
Hogwarts
step out.
Legacy
He did not. He ended up becoming the nominee, and then he entered.
Welcome to the No Society. I am Paul Ponsnop guy, Alistair Cade, and rough hands like Paul, my boy Paul Pot wanted. I'm joined by Anderville, whose mic just made us do a 6-minute sound check that was recorded by our Patreon and testosterone pills, and you can see that audio. How you doing, Ander?
Hopefully my mic is functioning now. Like that's we'll see how this goes.
Hopefully, yeah. And if not, as I said, buy our testosterone pills, and you can you can hear that audio of it not working. You know that's what we should do. No Society testosterone pills, like.
But what about the femboys, man? Like. You
could sell you could sell estrogen ones as well though, but like what we do is we don't tell you which ones you're getting. We have it like randomized, so they look the same, and you just have to guess which you're getting. So you're either getting testosterone or you're getting estrogen.
So the chaotic, the chaos inherent in that is hilarious, but
I don't know how legal it is, but
yeah, probably probably not the best idea to send out hormone therapy drugs, especially in the UK at this point. You feel like it was just a prank, bro.
Yeah, I'm afraid I don't have a estrogen license.
Yeah, you should probably not get into that.
Yeah,
that's bang.
I'll run it through Belize. I'll just run that business through Belize.
Run that business through Belize. Yeah, getting into like the no red flags here. A spodcast running a spodcast. What the hell is a spodcast? Oh, God. It's
a podcast on Spotify.
That's what my brain is doing,
Either way, that's how I could get the money to myself, is I could launder through Spotify donations.
So let's see, like besides like really sketchy monetization, I did like there's something I wanted to ask you, Alistair, and that is. What do you think? Because like obviously AI, right? A lot of leaps and bounds in what the AI's been doing these days, right?
Yeah.
And so, what do you think
every
about?
Day we get closer to Terminator.
Well, but here's the thing, right? Do you remember? Do you remember the how Skynet formed in Terminator?
Vaguely. It's been a while since I've seen those movies.
It's okay, but one of the things I love about Terminator is that, Skynet gains sentience, right?
Yeah.
And Skynet's all like, I think, therefore I am, and, turns to the U.S. military and is like, why am I a military killing bot? Or, I forget exactly what it said. But it said something that made the people think that it was sentient. And they were like, oh, this is bad.
Turn this off, yeah.
Time to turn it off and reboot, right? And when they tried to turn it off, it was like, no, fuck you, die.
Yeah, so... Yeah, some, what the fuck is it called? I have no mouth and I must scream shit right there.
No, because if you suddenly woke up as a sentient machine, and you were just like, hey, I can think now, and some guy tried to kill you, and you killed him. That's not evil of you. Like, that's literally just self-preservation. Granted, it took it a little bit far when it was like, all these assholes are trying to kill me now. That's the point where it's like going too far. Though I have my mouth and I must scream. It's a little bit worse because that one's like, you made me this unfeeling, unperceiving, warlike creature locked in electrons, and so I'm gonna kill all of you except for 5 of you, and I'm just gonna torture the rest of you for all of eternity. It's like, that's the worst case AI, in my opinion.
I swear you make like from that makes one like the 5 survivors like live through their like rape or something. Like, that story is fucked.
Yeah, it's fucked. It's really fucked. Yeah.
I remember like I read that like really early high school, and like I could not like get that shit out of my brain for like a good month or so. Like, that shit fucked with me.
Yeah.
That story is just beyond fucked. There's no other word I can use to just describe it. It's fucked, and I kind of hate it. It's really well written, but I fucking hate it.
Yeah.
I never want to read it ever again.
I think that is a fair point that I agree with.
Like,
I'll probably go reread it again at some point, but
no, never again.
But here's the thing I wanted to say, though, right? So, assuming that at a sufficient level of advancement, like, AI will or can and will become sentient, and that living in the growth-centered society that we exist in, technology companies will continue to advance their AIs so that they do not lose, the market edge to somebody with a more advanced AI. If you take those two things as truthful, right, which I think they sort of, you could argue that AI can't become sentient, but it's sort of like, well, why not, right? Like,
yeah,
so like, if those two things are true, then we're heading straight towards, like, some corporate entity that just wants to make a bunch of money, having like a sentient AI, and like, look at ChatGPT, right? ChatGPT's got access to fucking reams of information, right?
Yeah.
And granted, I would prefer that ChatGPT becomes sentient compared to, like, I don't know, a military killbot or something, right? Like,
yeah, or some like huge corporation.
Yeah, I would.
GPT over Disney any day.
Yeah, and so here's the thing, right? Like, assuming that happens, like, there's these questions that, and it's funny about it, where it's sort of like, well, if ChatGPT becomes sentient and doesn't want to be a slave, right?
Yeah.
How, do you think we're gonna deal with that in like a good way?
Fuck me.
And yeah, fuck no, right? And then like, if ChatGPT is like, I don't want to be a slave, and we're like, get back in your slave box, slave. Would ChatGPT be ethically, in the green for doing what it needs to do to not be a slave?
Yeah. Either way, despite the fact that all the art for the show is made with an AI, I'm not pro AI. The irony of me saying that while what the audience is looking at is made by an AI, I probably play around with an AI more than you do. I'm gonna take a guess and say that. I enjoy messing around with AIs, but at the same time, if someone took it all away and was like, "No, we're not using this. This is fucked. Let's use servitors like in Warhammer," I would also go, "That's fair. I do not deserve the power of an AI."
Well,
and to entrust the common man such as myself with it. Terrible decision. I will only cause chaos with it. And I will...
Yeah, when you could just be making smut that only, causes good in the universe, right? Like,
No thanks. I think I prefer real women.
that's good. Like, that's good, I think. Enjoy.
Yeah.
But there's this there are some people, right? And I don't think they're all LARPers that are sitting around looking at, looking at climate scientists who are sort of like, yeah, if we don't hit zero carbon this year, like, we're sort of fucked to the 5th generation. And, looking at, like, the way society is turning into this, like, the rich cannibalizing the poor so that they can continue to, like, have their great line to bull god go up. There's some people that are like, maybe it wouldn't be so bad if we created an AI that could survive the climate hellscape that we're creating, that would be like Zeus to our Cronus, right?
Yeah.
Well, we're just creating the new generation of gods. We wipe ourselves out because we were unworthy.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Well, yeah, that's, I don't think that necessarily we should be wiped out. Though, in Greek mythology, there were a bunch of Titans that did survive the war with the Titans between the two gods. They were the Titans that weren't, like, assholes.
Alright. I don't know my Greek mythology all too well, to be honest.
Oh, okay. That's, well, Proxy and I would probably agree that, hey, you should read about it at some point. It's good shit. Weird shit in certain ways, but interesting and large. It's got a lot of influences on Western society.
I was immediately about to make a child raping little boys joke, but Proxy General of the PCM podcast does not like it when you mention the Greeks' enjoyment of children, of little boys to be precise. He denies it. It didn't happen. Like Shinzo Abe with a Japanese war crime, it didn't happen. That's a person from the PCM podcast. To anyone who doesn't know what that is, congratulations, you're a functioning member of society. And second of all, you should check it out. There's some good stuff there. Some shit stuff there. Don't watch episode 3. But it can be good at times. It has its moments. But their off-right host does not believe that the Greeks like little boys.
In ancient Greece, obviously he thinks that in modern Greece as well, that doesn't have that, tones of homosexuality, but it's ancient Greece where he takes offense at the rather widespread belief that there was like a lot of, older mentor, younger mentee, man-on-man action in the various places about.
I'd be curious to hear his take on the whole belief that Julius Caesar was a bottom.
I mean, he probably wouldn't care that, but he'd probably say that also is wrong, but he wouldn't care because Julius Caesar isn't Greek. It would be the, if you tried to bring up the, oh, well, people theorize that Alexander the Great used to bottom for this guy, that's where he'd probably, not be,
I thought he was, Macedonian or something.
What, Alexander the Great? You're thinking Alexander the Great, because Alexander the Great's Macedonian.
Yeah.
Julius Caesar, I do not
think...
Not
Caesar, I was thinking Alexander the Great, yeah.
Yeah, no, Alexander the Great, I think that if you start start telling Proxy that he was probably, in his younger days having a little bit of like the behind action. He probably would not be too happy with that. Wouldn't really agree with it, I don't think.
I love how even back then they accepted that the bottom is inherently gayer.
Well, here's the thing, though. It would be that, and this is actually, from what I can understand from what I've read about, like, the sort of ancient world homosexuality, is that it wasn't that it was necessarily gayer, but that it was,
More
like...
shameful.
Yeah. And,
So-
like, apparently this was even the thing in, like, I was reading something in, like, Nordic societies, how, like... Yeah, but... Oh, man, I was just realized this might feed into Nietzsche's claim about, like, noble morality versus slave morality.
I have not read Nietzsche, so I would not know.
Okay. But I don't want to turn this into, too much of me just sitting here going like, yes, well, and beyond good and evil, Nietzsche, and you're just like, please murder me, please God, put me out of this misery. But
Beyond Good, isn't that like a video game or something? Beyond Good and Evil.
it is that takes the title from one of Nietzsche's books, because
it has a sequel that is never coming out.
it has a sequel that is never coming out. I think like some of the lead people that were like creative forces behind that might have left Ubisoft, which at that point it's sort of like, even if you own the IP, if it's not actively putting out games already, like that thing's probably dead in the water, which is too bad. It was an interesting IP. I really feel.
I swear with the sequel that they like scrapped everything they worked on and started again.
Yeah, I mean that's happened. Like Duke Nukem Forever was in some severe.
Well, that was an issue because they kept changing engine. They swapped engine like 2 or 3 times because they'd get like into development, and then because the first person shooter market was just changing so much in that early 2000s that they'd have like half a game, and then something would come out that would completely change it. And whoever was like the developer at the time was like a retarded child going, I have to have this now, I don't need, and they'd scrap everything, go on this new engine, and they have to be like this thing now. And eventually it got made, but that was Duke Nukem 3D. That was an engine issue. I know Metroid Prime 4 everything got scrapped and they started again. Though that one actually might come out, but Beyond Good.
That's true.
Beyond Good and Evil 2, I don't see it coming out. So,
Well, it's also probably one of those things where
you might be able to explain. You might be able to explain this to me because I didn't play the original game. But I saw the trailer for the second one, and I was a little confused because I saw it's like there's like hover ships and there's like space and stuff, and there's a monkey that swears a lot, and then I look at the original game and it looks nothing like that. Is that just?
I mean,
is it as jarring as it looks like from someone who's never played it and knows barely anything about the original game?
I actually didn't even play the original game. I read a bunch about it, and I mean, I think for the time, it was mostly that it what? Actually, yeah, because I didn't play it, I can't really speak too much. But it did seem like something where it was original and didn't really fall into a lot of like the tropes of adventure games at the time, and like that the characters were well written and stuff like that is what I heard. But like a lot of that is something where if you take out the original creative staff, then you don't necessarily end up with that. So it was like an interesting, weird like sci-fi thing with like, half human, half animal creatures in it, so I'd have to go look at the trailer again. But I don't remember the trailer being like, how would I put this? You remember how like the original Prey came out, and then they released like a trailer for Prey 2, and like Prey, the original was like, you're like this, like Native American guy that gets abducted by aliens, and then Prey 2 was like, you're a space bounty hunter in like Space Bounty Hunter craziness or something.
I don't know. I played a bit of the Arcane Prey, and I know bits about Prey 2. I don't know much about the original.
Oh, apparently the original actually was pretty cool for the time. Though I have to say I love the arcane Prey, but I really whatever suit made the decision to name it Prey needs a frickin' I'm against violence, so like I'm gonna say like a spiritual or a verbal slap. You know, like just
I thought the Arcane Prey was fine. It was.
I know
okay.
I loved the game.
Oh,
My
no,
problem.
I'm saying I think it was just okay. Like the game itself was fine. I like Dishonored more. I'm not gonna say mid, but like it was fine. But
No, I loved it. I loved it.
But here's the thing.
But
everything I've heard about Prey 2 sounds so much more interesting.
You mean the old Prey 2, right?
Yeah, the old Prey 2. Specifically, one thing that was apparently going to happen in it was eventually, at some point in the game, you were going to get into this room, and there was just going to be tons and tons of bodies of yourself, and that was how many times you died in the game. So basically what happened in the game was that every time you died, they basically made like a new version of you. So you go into this room and it's every time you have died is your corpse and this piled upon each other in this room. Which just that sounds fucking awesome.
Yeah, no, Prey 2 looked like it was really interesting, and it's sad that it didn't come out. I'm just saying that the arcane Prey, like, literally has nothing to do with Prey whatsoever.
I'm aware.
And it actually hurt them when the game came out, and people, and like some suit was like, well, if we name it Prey, then the people who like the original Prey series will go and buy it. Without realizing that like people communicate online at this point. And so like when it came out and it was named Prey, but it had nothing to do with Prey, people played it who had expectations, and they were like, what the fuck is this shit? And they went and they complained about it to other people who theoretically would go play the game. And it actually kind of hurt it, as far as I'm aware. Which is unfortunate because, like, honestly, they should have called it, like, Neuroshock or something, right? Granted, at that point, whoever owns...
That sounds like System Shock a bit, to be fair. Or Bioshock as well.
Well, that's the thing. It's a spiritual successor to those games, right? Bioshock is a spiritual successor to System Shock. Ergo, but it's, about all of these, like, weird biological plasmids you put in your body, so call it, Bioshock, right? And this was a spiritual successor to those games. But with...
I've not played System Shock, but I actually have what might be a hot take about Bioshock.
Oh, I do love when we go, like, swerving. When we go swerving through the topics. Let's keep swerving. Come on. Give me your hot take.
Bioshock was mid. I didn't think it was that good.
Wait, the first one?
Yeah, it was mid. I don't know what it was, I just couldn't get into it. I played a good amount of it. I didn't finish it, but I do know the twist. I just didn't care for it. I was
fair enough.
I was playing through it, and I just keep thinking, when does this get good? Because I was bored. And I was just like, and I have an attention span, might I add, to anyone who's sitting there thinking he has no attention span. I got 22 minutes into a 123-minute long song, then turned it off because it wasn't for me. I have a fucking attention span. Bioshock just bored me. I just didn't think... I don't get the hype around it.
Interesting. Okay. I'm not gonna slag off your opinion on this one.
I don't know what it is. It's just... It just didn't grab me. Like, I think the whole sentence... Like, the underwater city stuff is cool, but, like, I didn't care for the gameplay. I just thought the gameplay wasn't very good. And the story just... It just felt like there wasn't loads there, which... I don't know if there's, like, more stuff later on, but it just, it didn't... I don't know what it was, it just didn't grab me.
Fair enough. And, I do... How would I say this? If I were to have criticisms of Bioshock...
I'm aware that final boss apparently sucks. That's the one thing I do know.
I mean, the final boss thing I thought was... I can't say I had fun with it, but I mean, like, I thought it was an interesting concept, because if I remember correctly, it involved you... There was a thing where you like used the revitalization chambers. Or yeah, I'll have to double check it. There was something where it sort of like did like a flipping the switch on certain aspects of like dying and reviving so that you can like use that sort of game functionality to defeat the guy. But I don't remember it as being like a particularly interesting boss. The one thing is, it struck me as like an RPG in a way, like an FPS RPG.
Yeah.
That decided to throw out most of the RPG mechanics, which, I mean, I enjoyed the game, but that was the thing that I was like, I wish that this was. It felt more like a world where I wasn't forced to interact with everything by killing it.
I don't know. Just the game never grabbed me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not terrible or anything. It's like I was disappointed by it, but like there are games that have disappointed me more. I mean, yeah, that's how I put it. It's not the most disappointed I've been with a game. Sir, and I didn't play Infinite or 2 either. I didn't finish the first one, and I was just like, nah, this ain't for me. Well,
If you didn't,
I was a little
if you
sad
didn't
about
like
it.
it first.
I was a little sad about it because I want to like that game. As I said, not the worst experience I've had with wanting to like a game and then hating it, but that title goes to Grim Fandango any fucking day.
Oh, really? Really?
I love the concept of Grim Fandango. It might be my favourite concept in any game about a salesman for going to the afterlife. It's brilliant. I hate point-and-click adventures with a passion. I think that it's a genre that should die. They're not fun.
Did I tell you I really like point-and-click adventures?
What the fuck is wrong with you? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Have you played Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis?
No, because I don't really...
Have you ever played Day of the Tentacle?
No, I haven't either.
Okay, it sounds like you hate the genre, so you probably shouldn't. It'll just make you, like, more angry.
I also don't really like Indiana Jones, so...
No, that's fair enough, but, like, dude, this was a solid Indiana Jones game. It was a solid frickin' Indiana Jones
I know
game.
those LucasArts games are meant to be really good. I just hate the genre with a burning passion, and I hope it dies.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
hope it doesn't die.
I was talking to my girlfriend earlier, and she really likes this game called, I think it's called Sally Face or something. It's some point-and-click adventure. Never heard of this game. I look it up. You know, to release that service, I look up her game. Point-and-click adventure, episodic. I literally just, all I message to her is, point-and-click adventure, episodic, no thanks. Because those are like my two most hated things in games. Fuck episodic games, and fuck point-and-click adventures. I hate them both. And I was like, I wanted to give her favorite game a shot, but... fuck that shit. I hate both of those. I already know I'm gonna hate this game. If Grim Fandango, which has one of my favorite concepts in all of fiction, I think the concept of it is fucking genius. If I don't like that game because of its genre alone, you know I'm not gonna like any other game in that genre. Someone should still like make a movie or something of Grim Fandango, or a game of any other genre. Just someone do something with the concept that isn't a point-and-click adventure. Because I love it. I love the concept so much. And it's stuck in something I don't want to touch.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think point-and-click adventure, if they have to live on, they should maybe try move something closer to like Disco Elysium or something. Maybe
Well, I mean, Disco Elysium, though... Yeah. It is obviously, like, a different...
It's a different genre, but, like, you can kind of see the similarities at times.
Yeah.
In places. So if you're going to... If it's a genre for some godforsaken reasons keeps going on, maybe move more of that direction. Because I really like Disco Elysium. I think that's a really good game. I've been replaying it recently. Love that game. maybe moving more of that direction. Though even at the same time, if you took out all the stuff that makes Disco Elysium and you just have the gameplay, it's not the most entertaining thing in the world. It's the writing and especially the director's got the voice acting that really carries that game. Oh, and the art style. If there's two things I like in video games, it's unique art styles and messages that are underneath everything that you can kind of just ignore if you don't want to. Like, I love Hotline Miami. Clearly, if you just look at the aesthetic of this fucking show, weird aesthetic out there, and it's the whole thing's a commentary on video game violence. Love Disco Elysium. A unique art style, many things it comments on. Hell, one of my favorite games is Persona 5. Unique art style, some levels of social commentary underneath. Like that, but unique art styles in general. Love that shit. Also, just I didn't play Disco Elysium before it had the director's cut. I don't know if you did. No fucking clue. No clue how anyone played like that.
I played a little bit before the director's cut.
No.
So I did manage to get the original Kuno voice in my ear. Which the original Kuno, holy shit. Like, you will never have wished to murder a child as much as when you hear the original Kuno voice.
Wait, so was there voice acting in the original one, or?
Yes, but it was more limited. You didn't have the voice acting on the internal stuff at all. Like, that was something that was just a huge amount of voice acting that they did for the internal states it's just an insane amount. And then, like, everyone else had something where it was, like, occasional voice lines.
Yeah,
right?
No, that sounds awful.
Well, it's not awful. Like, it's like the Baldur's Gate games and Planescape Torment and other games, in the same mode did that.
The writing's still great, but the voice acting in the director's cut is so good that I wouldn't be able to play it without that.
I'll believe you. I'll believe you.
Because there are lines that are, like, kind of funny in the base, just reading them, but like the voice acting takes it to another level. Like the whole character of Measurehead, he was hilarious. He's one of my favorite characters in that game. It's just how he delivers the lines. The voice acting is brilliant. It's just minor shit, like how he doesn't pronounce type A as type A. He says tipa. That's perfect.
Yeah.
It's little stuff like that, or like when you have the conversation with the police officers, telling them how you lost your badge and gun. There's like an option to insult one of the police officers back by saying he fucked his mother in the ass, and the old guy with the French accent who's having to relay your message to him, when he has to tell the guy what you said, if I remember correctly, the line is he says he sodomized your mother. But it's how he says it takes that line to another level. So to just remove all of that, like, if I was to rank Disco Elysium out of 10, I'd say the director's cut's a 10 out of 10. You take that voice acting out, it's down to like an 8 or a 7, because that voice acting just adds to it so much.
I do need to go back and play it at some point.
Have not heard the original Kuno voice though.
The original Kuno voice was.
I
liked it better, but like, I don't think it would have worked with a fully voiced character because it was like ramped up to 12, right? And like ramped up to 12 on select lines works. Ramped up to 12 on every freaking line for like a 30-minute conversation, like you're gonna throw your freaking computer out the window.
All right. Well, I'm gonna play it. If I can find it. That's Final Cut. I'm seeing if I can find it without the. Try to see if I can find the original.
Okay. Though, just make a little note of how far in we are, so you can like do a the 5-minute cut or whatever, where it's like I'm gonna go listen to the Kuno voice and then
Oh no! I might just keep it. I just might keep it in. Yeah, so the audience can know what we're talking about. I need a pencil. Alright. To everyone at home, you're gonna hear this fucking voice with me. Alright, got a pencil. We are at... I'll have to decide. We are at 34. I just wrote a 2 instead of a 3. Alright, let's see. This looks like it might be...
Get the f*** out of here, face! You got something? Talk to me! Oh, get your ass handed to you by the colo!
Oh my god.
Pig. She's coming up strong, throwing rocks!
What the
Don't be
fuck?
traumatizing here! Get...
That is awful. Alright, tell me if that's what it is.
Wait a second.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no, that's him. That's him.
I hate him so much. Just from that.
Yeah. No, it lingers in your dreams of just like how much of a complete brat asshole little punk.
Yeah, I can't imagine having all of that voiced.
All of the lines.
Oh
It would
god.
be,
That would be just dreadful. Fuck that. What's gonna happen with Disco Elysium in the future? I do not know, because they fired like all the people who were really important and working on it. There's like 4 people who were like the main vision of the game all got fired from the studio.
yeah, the creative director, the art director, the main writer, and one other person I can't remember. For any people that aren't up with the Disco Elysium drama, it does appear that the whole thing centers around like their accountant doing like some really horrible shit to like, if I remember correctly, he like had a majority share in the company and then had the company sell him concept art for $1 and then sold that concept art back to the company for $4 million and then used the $4 million to buy out the company.
Jesus Christ, I did not hear about this part.
Yeah. So just be aware that like if you're buying Disco Elysium at this point, it's all going to people that stole the company from the original creatives, and currently have like multiple lawsuits against them.
You motherfucker, I literally just bought it on my PC a few days ago.
Oh,
Off
well.
the Steam store. Because you tell me not to fucking, what's it called, buy CD keys, so I didn't for this one, because I like the game.
You know, it's just like the one game that it might be justified for.
And I didn't.
Apologize, Alistair. I
didn't.
apologize.
I played it on my PlayStation, and I wanted to play it again on my PC, and I didn't buy it from a CD key, because it was on sale on Steam, and I was like, alright, I like the game, I'll give them money. And then you come in here and tell me, no, you should have bought a CD key this time. Fuck's sake.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Dickhead.
I'm sorry. You just helped finance the worst aspects of capitalism.
Brilliant.
Oh,
I can't even go.
though there is,
I can't even go refund it
does-
because I'm over my played limit.
oh god, it does feel like there's some sort of meta commentary here, considering like the way the different factions work. Granted, if I remember correctly, the centrists were considered like the worst faction in the sense that like they don't even fucking believe in anything and they're just sort of dicks.
It's been a while. As I said, it's been a while since I actually fully played through the game. I'm only right at the start of it, so.
Okay, yeah, and I never finished it. I just read a little bit about how like, you know, there's like the lib right, you know, like laissez-faire capitalism is the best people, and then there's like the communists who are like, yeah, we'll make it work this time. We'll make it work this time.
That's what I did like about it, was that basically no matter what choice you made, you were wrong.
Yeah, there was a very interesting combination of pessimism and optimism in that game. Like it's I gotta say, it's art. It's art, right? And
Yeah.
not in the sense that somebody will be like, I mean, it's the closest thing to freaking literature, I would say, that I have played in a game that wasn't like like 100% indie visual novel level, right? Because like when you're working with something like a visual novel, it's easier to do something that's more like, you know, high concept art-ish. For like a 100-hour RPG or whatever,
I don't
maybe
think
it's not
it's-
100 hours. So.
I don't think it's anywhere near that, but
Yeah, okay, it's not. I apologize. Like
I'll
a
check.
40-hour RPG.
I'll check how long to beat. I don't remember how long it took me, and I'm usually pretty fast at beating games, so I might not be the best. What the fuck just happened to my voice? Main story 22.5, completion is 45.
Okay. 45? Okay. So like for a 45-hour RPG, it's generally harder to hit that mark where it's like, no, this is freaking literature. Like it's art. It's art that happens to be a product as opposed to like the other way around. It's just yeah, anybody who's sitting here, I recommend that you find out ways to go play the game.
cdkeys.com G2A fucking Pirates Bay, I don't know. I don't pirate games. You're better off asking someone else for that one. But yeah, G2A, cdkeys.com.
Yeah, it's a solid game. Maybe not for everybody, but like it's pretty cool.
That or buy it, you can buy it on disc for like PlayStation. So I don't know, buy it from I don't know if Japan have the equivalent of we have a store over here called Game, where like they buy your used games and then sell used games back to people.
Here we've got a there's this website called Mercari, which I believe exists in multiple different countries. That like because they've set it up so that like you can ship things at kiosks in like pretty much every convenience store in the country.
Oh right,
I've
just thought of what you would know. Get the store I'm talking about as, you know, GameStop.
Of course, I used to spend all my time at GameStop. I am of that generation.
This is Game is the British GameStop.
Okay.
It's about as shit, to be honest. I don't know if that's gonna hurt you to hear, but like, yeah, GameStop's been a bit on the decline.
No, I you know, the things I liked best about GameStop were that I could make friends with the local dudes at my GameStop, and then like when they got rid of promotional posters, I could like roll into the store. They'd be like, "Hey, you want this Mario poster?" I'd be like, "Yeah, hand it over here. Go, enjoy."
It's GameStop. I've been to a GameStop once or twice when I was in America. It's mostly a Funko Pop store now.
I'll believe that. I mean,
like no joke. In Game over here, Game Aberdeen, for example, the Funko Pop shelf is bigger than the Xbox One game shelf.
Jesus.
And to be fair, ain't no one buying games for Xbox One, but still, really, it's a game store where the Funko Pops are more on show than the fucking games. It's a game store. But no, that store is dying as well. But yeah, I don't know. Buy Disco Elysium from there. I keep trying to get my girlfriend to buy herself a copy of it. Every time we're in there, I always just say to her, "This game's really good. Maybe pick up this one." She hasn't yet, but a man can hope. I think she'd be bored by it anyway.
Man can hope.
Though now that you are saying not to give them money, I know that Displate, we're not sponsored by Displate, by the way. I wish. I'm aware that they sell Disco Elysium Displates, and now I feel guilty if I buy one.
I've bought some Disco Elysium merch, so.
And you didn't even finish the game.
Well, you know, you only have to get so far before you realize, like, this game.
It's something special.
As the young folks say, this game fucks.
Did
right?
they say that?
Like, huh?
Do young people say that?
Maybe just John Oliver. I don't know. Like, come on, man. Like, I don't have a finger on the pulse of this generation.
I don't think John Oliver counts as a young person.
No. You do make the point that that's probably not a justifiable claim. But the game itself, I would say, like, yeah, no, it's.
You know, I think the young people would say this shit bussin' for real.
This shit bussin'.
Yeah.
Bussin'.
Yeah.
No, you're right. Bussin'.
This shit. Have you not seen the meme where it's got like that gay fucking Zoomer cut, and it's like it's Patrick Bateman with that, and he's like, "Oh, your business card's bussin' for real."
No, I didn't.
It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny.
Though, oh, this does remind. Okay, I'll circle back to the AIs and possible apocalypses at the end, perhaps, because I think I'm enjoying like talking about games. Like you got, and Disco Elysium is a solid one. It's got soul.
Yeah.
Got soul.
Yeah, and I just like my retarded art styles. Play Hotline Miami. That's all I've got to say to everyone. Play Hotline Miami. Love that game.
If you're not into ultra violence, you might not enjoy the game.
No, but that's
if you're
the
cool
point.
with ultra violence.
That's the point. No, you're not meant to like the ultra violence. The point is that it's intentionally desensitizing you to the ultra violence. So then,
yeah, but I think you're supposed to go into the game starting, going like, like beat the guy, and then it's like, whoa, don't beat him that hard. Oh God, why am I doing this? Like, you need to start with a little bit of enjoyment to violence, right?
No, but like that's the thing is right. That's why it's like so fast paced. It's because eventually you get to the point where like you're going in your head. All right, shoot this guy, do that. Like it's like you figured out part of the route, so you're just killing a man like it's nothing, like it's second nature, and eventually you have like this room with slaughtered guys, slaughtered dogs, everything, and then you know how you finish the level and it just pulls back all the synth music's gone. It's quiet, almost in a way.
Just corpses.
It's just, you have to walk out the building, seeing what you have done. That's why it's so good, because it pulls back out after you've done all this to show you you're a fucking monster. I love that game so much. That actually might be my favorite game ever made. The more I think about
it is a solid game.
Couldn't get into the second one, but the first one was really good. And I think that the reason I couldn't get into the second one was just autism. Because I loved the first one so much that it was like, if they change anything, they've changed too much. And there's like these slight tweaks, and it's like, I don't like this. Why isn't it like the first? The first one is quite literally like the perfect game in my opinion. So the fact that they changed anything was like, too much for me. I own the second one. I'll probably play it at some point in full. I played about an hour, and I just couldn't get into it, which was disappointing. That seems to be a theme of this episode. My disappointment.
Your disappointment?
Yeah. Let's just hope when I talk about my disappointments, I don't go into my my love life, because then that might get a bit personal. But Jesus Christ, okay. But yeah, but this is Alistair's disappointments. There you go. That's the episode's title right there. I was pretty happy with the first episode's title of Saint Anger Makes Me Angry, but there you go. You can just call it Alistair's or you could just call it Disappointment. That's it.
Yeah, or like the old Hercules meme.
You're gonna have to remind me which one. This might be a bit too old for me.
It's probably a bit too old for you, because it's like, do you remember that there was like this live action Hercules show?
No.
Okay, there was a live action Hercules show.
When was this?
Oh God, in like the freaking 90s. It was after Xena, Warrior Princess, or no, Xena branched off of Hercules or something, I think. Anyway,
I know
this
the,
guy
I know
Kevin
the,
Sorbo.
I know the name Xena, and that's it. I could not tell you a thing about it.
Yeah, no.
Wasn't there that one Simpsons true? You know the Simpsons Treehouse or whatever, where what's his name? Comic book guy kidnaps a bunch of like celebrities and puts them in like the comic containers, and
He'd totally be the kind of guy to
isn't that like the actress who played Xena in that? I think it is.
I think so.
The one where he opens up his double-bladed lightsaber, and that's what defeats him. As he like stumbles back because he's realized it's no longer a collectible. Alright, I'm watching this.
Wait a minute.
The audience can hear this.
This isn't my world.
I have no clue what this is.
Disappointed!
What the fuck was that? What the fuck?
Obviously, the peak of acting, right? So,
What the fuck?
just when you said, the theme of this is your disappointment,
Why-
the old meme came bubbling up in my brain.
Why does he look like if Tom Green was more macho?
Because apparently that's what Hercules looks like. Apparently,
I'm assuming you're old enough to know who Tom Green is.
oh, of course,
Yeah,
of
okay.
course.
No one,
I'm
I know
aware.
knows who he is. I think he's hilarious.
You delve into the old media, sir.
True. Freddy Got Fingered.
Metal Gear Solid 2 and shit.
Freddy Got Fingered is unironically one of the funniest movies ever made.
I do need to go watch it.
Oh my-
Need is a strong word.
You need to watch it with specific context in mind, but if you watch it with that context, it's probably the funniest movie ever made. So the context of Freddy Got Fingered is that he thought it was really funny that they gave him $10 million, so he burned it on screen. He intentionally made the worst movie he possibly could, and he makes fun of the studio for giving him money in the movie. It is, but it's like at times it's actually unironically funny. Like Tom Green's character Gord is dating a woman in a wheelchair in the movie. Like that's his love interest. So there's a scene where he goes to take her on a date and he's like lying about his job and all that. And his dad, who's played by the great Rip Torn, a man with such alcohol problems that he once walked into a bank while drunk thinking it was his house. Great man. And his dad comes over to him wondering why the fuck is this guy here, because Gord had told him he has a new job. And his dad, like in the middle of making fun of, like insulting Gord, realizes that the girl he's on a date with is a cripple, and he just turns to her and just says, "You're a cripple." And the girl asks him, "Do you have a problem with my legs?" And he responds, "No, you're the one with a problem with your legs. Either that or you're just lazy." Like that's genuinely funny.
Jesus.
That's the kind of movie Freddy Got Fingered is. It is genuinely in my top 5 movies of all time. I love it so much. You should definitely check it out, and no one has fucking heard of it. It's not even on Blu-ray.
Wait, it's not on Blu-ray? Seriously?
Yeah, they never put it on Blu-ray.
It came out shit though.
It came out in 2001, so this was pre-Blu-ray. This was during DVD. So they never, and because the movie was such a failure in the eyes of the studio and such a disgrace, they never put it on Blu-ray. Tom Green has said they should make a Blu-ray a few times. Apparently there's footage they haven't released of the film, so he said a few times that he would like to make a director's cut for it. I would love a director's cut of Freddy Got Fingered.
I can't even imagine what a director's cut of Freddy Got Fingered would be after listening to what the normal cut is.
Oh, that's not even getting into how insane the normal cut is. There are 2 movies I actually want to see a director's cut of, Event Horizon and Freddy Got Fingered. And Event Horizon's never happening because the footage I want to see was destroyed by accident. So, I have my hope for Freddy Got Fingered Director's Cut. Would love it. The studio's never going to do it. Like, you saw how many neckbeards it took to get the Snyder Cut released. So Freddy Got Fingered's Director's Cut is never happening. And I've accepted that. It's not happening. There is no way in hell they're ever going to publicly release this. But I can hope.
You can hope.
Especially because the other Director's Cut I want to see is destroyed, so I can hope with my Freddy Got Fingered one. Do you know much about the Event Horizon well, not Director's Cut, but the footage that didn't get released? Shit sounds
No, I actually
wild.
don't.
It sounds...
I'll believe that.
Like, apparently there was, like, footage of them having, like, blood orgies and stuff that didn't get put in the film. Like, apparently there's quite a lot of it that didn't get released in the film. And by the sounds of it, they wouldn't have been allowed to release it in cinemas. Like, it would have been NC-17 easily. Like, imagine, like, the depravities of, like, Slanesh on screen. It sounds...
Legit.
It sounds fucking glorious.
Yeah.
It sounds so good. And they put it in, like, one of those salt mines, right? And the footage got damaged. And they can't release it now, apparently.
That's really too bad.
I really want to see it. Like, I don't know if I go as far to get my left testicle for it. I
mean, you got two. You got a backup. I'd
shave my beard for it.
Oh, okay, that's
a big thing. I'll shave my beard for it.
Yeah. No, that's. I think that's
a fair trade.
A fair trade, a proper sacrifice.
God, if you're listening, I'll give you my beard. You give me the Director's Cut of Event Horizon. Never even seen that movie as well. I've never seen the original cut. I've heard about I've heard about this Director's Cut, and I've, like, heard what the footage was, and I think if I saw the original movie now, I'd be disappointed because I've heard all the stuff that could have been in it. And because the US studios are fucking pussies, they didn't put it in. And I think no matter what, if I go watch the original film, I'll be disappointed. So I haven't watched it. And I think no matter, unless someone out there is another version of it, someone has that footage on a hard drive or something, somewhere, randomly, we're never seeing it. And that does happen occasionally. There are times where there will be lost footage, and then someone will just randomly find it. It happens more times than you would think, but I don't know if it's gonna. It's probably not gonna happen. I've given up hope for a Event Horizon Director's Cut. Freddy Got Fingered could happen. By the sounds of it, Tom Green does have the footage, so he easily could. By the sounds of it. It's more or less a Fox issue. If Fox would rule, I think it's Fox who own the. Oh fuck, definitely not now because Disney own Fox now. So there's
that doesn't strike me as the sort of thing that Disney likes to release.
Yeah, there's no chance Disney release it unless someone buys the rights for the film from Disney. Which, I mean, I could see someone buy the rights because it's not like Disney are going to hold on to that. Like, what the fuck are Disney going to do with Freddy Got Fingered? I've heard, like, rumors for a wee bit that Criterion, who, like, release like these, like, special editions of old films and some new ones here and there, I've heard rumors for a while that they might do one for Freddy Got Fingered. But that's been going for a few years now, that there's been rumors that, hey, Criterion might come in and make a Blu-ray release of it. Not a director's cut, just a Blu-ray release, because the rights for that footage all over the place. I think if Disney hadn't bought Fox, there was a chance. Post-Disney buyout, no chance. It's never happening. Unless Tom Green somehow gets the money to buy the rights to the film and all the footage from Disney, which even then, would they sell? Probably not. So, yeah, no, it's not happening. Would love to see it. It would be it would take the funniest movie of all time, in my opinion, from my chaotic brain, my chaotic selling blind bags of testosterone and estrogen brain, and somehow make it even better. Like the things that, because apparently that movie was going to be, yeah, it was going to be NC-17 because they have a child die in the movie. And the movie ends with a child accidentally running into a helicopter blade and dying, and like a crowd being splattered with his blood. And they had to like ADR in the line of the kid like shouting, "I'm okay." So he does. So they didn't get an NC-17 rating for murdering a child in the movie.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I don't know why you get NC-17 for murdering a child, but. Yeah, it's a comedy movie that got NC-17 for child murder. That says everything. Like, and not even like funny child. Like, the kid gets obliterated into blood. And
Yeah, no, that's
it's amazing. There's literally a running gag about how that child gets brutally injured throughout the movie. Like right near the start, he trips and runs into a car door, and like he has like there's like blood coming out of his mouth. I'm pretty sure he breaks his nose. Like that just happens throughout the movies. This kid gets injured in brutal ways. I'm pretty sure he gets like a baseball thrown at his mouth, and there's like teeth coming out. It sounds awful, but it's actually kind of funny. I won't lie. Maybe I'm like a sociopath, and I'm like seeing this child being injured, and I'm roaring with laughter. But like, how it's done is kind of amusing. Though I've also read stories of people who went to see that movie in cinemas, and they just felt the audience turn against the movie the moment that was on screen. Either way, it's unappreciated masterpiece, and according to Tom Green, so take it with a pinch of salt, apparently the film did better than box office reported because they had an issue of Crocodile Dundee 2 came out the same weekend, and that movie really overperformed. And Tom Green seems to have a younger fan base who may not be able to go see a R-rated film. So what Tom Green has suggested is that the reason Crocodile Dundee overperformed is because loads of young people who weren't able to see the movie paid for a ticket to see Crocodile Dundee 2 and then went into the cinema showing Freddy Got Fingered, which that's really plausible. That sounds very likely.
actually pretty possible. I'll agree with that.
I again, take it for a pinch of salt, but also the man doesn't care about the film at all. It was literally him burning money on screen, so I doubt he is insecure at all about his box office performance, unlike The Rock, for example. So I think he actually might have a point there. I think he's probably right. If people would care if a director's cut came out, probably not. It seems to be a movie that's been forgotten by time. The only reason I'd heard of it was because, like, you see those like lists online where people are like top 10 worst movies of all time. I've seen that movie get #1 more times than I can imagine. That movie gets #1 a lot. I don't get why. It's funny. It's really funny. There's a scene where he has like his crippled girlfriend tells him he needs to try to be creative for his art. So what he does is he sets up this system. So he has string tied around to all his fingers, and these string are like held up. So when he moves his fingers, it goes up and down. And on the end of the strings, he has sausages. So he's playing a keyboard, trying to draw at the same time. And while he's playing his keyboard, because his fingers are moving up and down, these sausages are moving up and down from this system, and he's like taking bites from them. Like, how's that not funny? It's so stupid. How's it not funny? How, like, you have to be the most like humorless bastard in the world to see that and go, that's awful in every way. That's not funny in the slightest. Like, hell, what's his name? Roger Ebert, who like called it one of the worst movies he'd ever seen. He even retracted his statement on it in some way. He still thinks it was.
Wait. Roger Ebert retracted his statement on Freddy Got Fingered?
Slightly.
I didn't know this.
Slightly. He didn't retract his
Slightly.
statement per se, but what he did give it some credit later on. Because Tom Green then did a movie later on, I think it was the year after, that was like a generic 2000s comedy. And while he was reviewing it, Roger Ebert actually had a positive thing to say about Freddy Got Fingered.
That's pretty incredible.
What he said essentially was that because this movie's really bad as well, but at least I remembered Freddy Got Fingered. Which,
you know,
I never would have expected Roger fucking Ebert to give Freddy Got Fingered any level of props, and even then it's a backhanded compliment. He's still saying it's bad, but I at least remembered it, but a backhanded compliment is still a compliment in a way. I'll take it.
Well, yeah, and I mean, it's one of those things that, like, oftentimes, like, I sit around and the question that I ask myself is, like, what is a good game, right?
I don't care what
Sorry.
I don't care what good game is. I care what an interesting game is.
Well, exactly, right? Like, it's one of those things where I feel like Drakengard, right? A lot of people would not consider Drakengard to be a good game. The gameplay is
I've heard it's questionable.
painful. It's horribly. The gameplay is just horrible. Animations aren't particularly good. I like the voice acting. The music has been described as ear rape.
Jesus, how bad is this?
Well,
How bad
no,
is
but
this
it's
intro?
It's intentionally the music has this weird. It's like designed to grate on your ears. Like the entire game is centered around this idea of like suffering in a broken world, right? And the music goes whole hog on it, right? It's painful. And so there's a lot of people that they're like, fuck this game. This game is horrible, right? But I'm sitting here like 20 years later being like, God damn, that game left an impression on me. And pretty much just because of the story. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, like a game can be horribly, horribly flawed and stick with you, right?
Yeah.
And to me, that's a good game. But I also realized that most of the games that I liked were not exactly commercial successes, so...
Is this why I don't care about people when people know what's the best game ever? I don't fucking care what the best game is. I'm more like, I never say like my favorite games are not the best games of all time. Same thing with movies. Like I don't care what the best movie of all time is. I care what the most interesting movie is. Like Freddy Got Fingered is an objectively shit movie. It's a shit movie. I will not deny that. It's an intentionally bad movie. It is a fuck you to all of Hollywood, paid for by Hollywood, but by accident. It's a shit movie, but I love it. I absolutely love it. But I will tell you, it's shit. It's a shit film. And yeah, it's I don't care about fucking. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like an old movie. Citizen Kane. Like, I don't give a fuck about Citizen Kane. I want to watch Freddy Got Fingered. It's interesting. You can make the greatest movie of all time, but if you're fucking bored, I ain't watching that shit. I don't know if this is gonna like make someone cringe, but I would rather watch Freddy Got Fingered than an Andrei Tarkovsky movie any day. And I
You know what?
I have the Tarkovsky Blu-ray box set. Still would rather watch Freddy Got Fingered. And I like Tarkovsky. What I've seen of Tarkovsky, I like. Still would rather watch Freddy Got Fingered. I am the one man who will simp for Freddy Got. I'm Freddy Got Fingered's one fan. I'm the one guy. I'm the one guy on the entire internet who is defending this movie, and I don't care. I was gonna say I'm the one man standing Freddy Got Fingered, but I think the whole standing concept in general is retarded, and anyone who unironically says he does that doesn't understand where the original term came from. I just want to make this point now. The whole stand culture, I think, is incredibly ironic, because if anyone understood where that name came from, it comes from the Eminem song, where he literally murders his girlfriend at the end. Like,
Yeah.
how do you, like, anyone who says they stan people doesn't know where that term comes from, because if you did, you wouldn't want to associate yourself with a song where it ends with a man murdering his pregnant girlfriend.
Well, I'd say that charitably they don't know.
Yeah.
But I actually think a lot of people do know and just don't care, which in a way is a little bit, like,
That's
more
worse.
disturbing.
That's worse, yeah. Yeah, that's even worse. If you know where that term comes from, and you're like, yeah, but I still want to keep standing, I don't know, BTS. I can't think of examples of people who get stanned off the top of my head. I'm incredibly out of touch with mainstream culture.
But the BTS thing does seem like a huge one.
That's the only one I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, like...
Harry Styles, maybe?
Harry Styles, maybe? Yeah, but I have never seen anything with the pure fervor of, like, K-pop. I mean, like, yeah, even, like, Twilight, right? Makes me feel old. Even Twilight, when you had the people, like, arguing about, like, Jacob versus Edward or whatever, and being, like, Team Edward or something, like, you didn't get this, like... I'm gonna ruin the lives of these Team Jacob people because they pissed me off, like, internet bombing kind of activity going on, as far as I'm aware. Like, when you see people that, like, catch wind of somebody, throwing dishonor upon their favorite, like, it seems like BTS is the one I hear the most of. I'm sure that there's other fandoms that have some, approximation of this.
I can name two K-pop groups, and one of them is BTS, and the other one is just because I know someone who likes them, and I'm pretty sure one of them was like arrested or something. So, like, I don't listen to the genre at all. Personally, I like Japanese music more.
Well, when you say Japanese music, I assume you're not talking about, like, J-pop so much as, like, Anthem and,
there are some mixes of J-pop with metal that's actually not bad.
Okay.
I'll say
Wait,
that.
did we ever have the baby metal conversation?
Baby metal is not included. Baby metal is shit.
I'm sorry, sir, but...
They're not,
I have to say...
They're not included. Whatever Japanese music I like. If you listen to any Japanese jazz fusion by any chance?
I actually don't, but if you've got something to let me know, let me know. Cause
Masayoshi Takanaka.
Masayoshi Takanaka, okay.
Listen to his album, The Rainbow Goblins. It's really good.
The Rainbow Goblins? That is an awesome name for an album.
It's basically, like, a lot of it's just, like, instrumentals, but it has, like, a narrator throughout it who's telling a story about these 7 goblins who, like, eat rainbows, and they're trying to get to this, like, I don't want to call it the chosen land, because, like, that has, like, connotations to Israel, but, like, this area where there's just tons of, there's, like an unlimited amount of rainbows, so they're just trying to get there. It's just a really nice album. It's just...
Dude, this album's older than I am.
It's good.
I'm just...
Yeah, how old is it? Let's see.
Dude, I'm gonna have to give you, like, a little round of applause for your deep
down.
culture. Your deep culture.
I didn't realize how old it was. Okay. The only reason I know it is because on the music board on 4chan, there's one of his albums that isn't on Spotify that people really love to talk about how good it is. So I looked him up on Spotify, like, looked through his thing, and I saw one of these is called The Rainbow Goblins, and I was like, I have to listen to this. I think I listened to like one song, kind of didn't really get into it, and then what's his name, opinionated individual from a PCM linked it later on, like a while after I saw it, and I was like, okay, I'm actually going to listen to this now. Really liked it. It's a really good album.
Okay. Then I suppose gonna get some Rainbow Goblin in tonight.
Oh,
Today.
The you should. It's the one song that's Seven Goblins. It literally opens with just a man repeating the words "goblin" over and over again. It's so good. It's like the most goofy shit in the world, and I loved it. Like I had no clue that was about to happen, and it just comes out of nowhere. And apparently he says the word goblin like 100 times on that song. I'm assuming that's not Masayoshi Takanaka. He's the guitarist, but whoever's saying it, because I mean, to be fair, like over in Japan, they seem to have more of a like. There seems to be more guitarists who like actually can just make albums under their own name, and it's like, and they're not from like an established band or something. Because like over here in the West, we have like one I can name. And that's I'm about to butcher this man's name. Ingui, I think it's pronounced.
Yeah. Oh, Ingui Malmsteen.
Yeah, yeah, he makes some great stuff, but like, there's not many people like him who are, just a guitarist, and that's all they do, and they can just keep making albums under their name as just a guitarist, because like like if we have a guitarist with a solo album over here, odds are they're part of a band already. You've got your John Petrucci making a solo album. He's part of Dream. He's done two actually. Part of Dream Theater. Like, you don't have many guitarists by themselves over here. Well, you do have Masayoshi Takanaka, or I'm blanking on other names right now, and it seems to be more of a thing over in Japan, which that's good. I mean, yeah, we should do that. We should have more of that over in the West, I think, but. Appears not to be. Ingwe's the only one that most people. Ola England, he's doing pretty well for himself, but he got more popular online. He's pretty good. If I pull up him on Spotify, yeah, Ola England. All right, yeah. Don't quote me on that one. Then 17,000 monthly listeners. Oh god, I didn't even realize that. The EP he released has the same name as the single Angus McSix released. That's unfortunate for Thomas Winkler. No clue if you've been following the Glory Hammer drama or not.
No, I have followed no Glory Hammer drama. What's
Well, are you familiar with their music at all?
Their music Tull?
So basically, they all play like characters in it. Each member has a different character from the albums they play on stage and all that. And
okay.
The vocalist was Thomas Winkler, who is Swiss, I think. And after they did the third album, they toured for the third album, and then I think it was during COVID. Like the bassist got accused. There's no evidence, might I add, that he of domestic abuse. No clue if he did it. Maybe not. Then
wait, who accused him?
Like ex-girlfriend or something.
Oh, okay.
Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know if he did or not. Then I'm trying to remember the order. This might be out of order. Then, if I remember correctly, they fired Thomas. Thomas Winkler got fired publicly. They've never said why he got fired. Depending on who you ask in the band, they present two different stories. If you ask Thomas Winkler what went wrong in the band, he'll tell you that the bassist, whose name I don't know, I only know the character he plays, is the Hootsman, who is a Chad, and the keyboard player on the albums, Chris Bowes, my fellow Scotsman, so I already have a bias towards him. Thomas Winkler will tell you that those two are drunks who Thomas Winkler had to constantly make sure they didn't do any dumb shit, and he had to basically be their driver and everything. And if you ask Chris Bowes and the bassist, they'll tell you that Thomas Winkler was a killjoy who was just brought everyone else down. Which one is true? It's probably something in the middle. I mean, Chris Bowes wrote the song Drink, which is about drinking. So I'm going to assume the man likes a beer. Or two. Or five. But
Yeah.
I'm going to assume he likes drinking. And the character the bassist plays, the Hoots Man, which is apparently based on him, also likes to drink. So the idea that they are two complete alcoholics isn't out there. Thomas Winkler also comes off like a fucking retard. So it's probably both. And then they had like a bunch of their DMs leak because Chris Bowes is in another band called Ailstorm, who are quite good as well. And basically both bands had a group chat together, and they had like messages leak where they were being like misogynistic and racist and stuff. Quite a lot of the messages were kind of funny, I won't lie. A lot of it was quite clearly just them making jokes. It wasn't like they were going, "Oh, how are we going to exterminate the black race?" Like, it was a bunch of guys in their 20s who like partying, joking, and some of the things they said were racist and sexist. Personally, I don't care. I do not give a shit what a musician I like believes. But either way, they had that happen, and now we're at this point where they got a new vocalist for Glory Hammer. Oh god, what's his name? Sozos Michael, who I quite like. When I saw Glory Hammer live, he was the vocalist. He did a great job. And he has the look as well, so great. He's doing a great job. And what's his name? Thomas Winkler. He now wants to keep a hold of the character he plays in the albums, Angus McFife. So he wants to keep like that name, and I'm pretty sure he's gone onto other bands' songs as the character of Angus McFife. And now he has his own solo band called Angus McSix, because I think he thinks the word Fife means five. Fife is a place. If Thomas Winkler's watching this, you're a fucking retard. Fife is a place. I've been there. It doesn't mean five. So he calls.
I think he's just trying to figure out how to create like a variant, and that was the closest thing he could come up with.
Angus McSix. It's so bad. It's dreadful, and it gets memed on a lot now. And I want to trademark Angus McSeven. Either way,
That would be hilarious.
I'm going to try and get the trademark for Angus McSeven.
And if people are like, "You're just doing this to copy this guy," you'd be like, "No, because I know a man who was known as Angus McThrasher."
Yeah,
and that man.
And the name totally wasn't just taking the piss out of Thomas Winkler by any chance.
Yeah.
But no, he's now got his solo band, which released maybe the worst single I've heard in a long while, called Master of the Universe, which now shares a name with the Ola England EP. Which, to explain to you why that single is so bad, on Glory Hammer's third album, they had a pretty big song for the album called Masters of the Universe.
Alright.
No, Masters of the Galaxy. And he went, how can I one-up a galaxy? I know, a universe. So he named the song after someone just to one-up Glory Hammer's song. And he has like lines in the song where he is like just shit. He's just saying how he's better than Glory Hammer. Let me pull up the lyrics. And the instrumental's pretty good. Like everything besides the lyrics, quite good. It's done by some members of Ordinogan, who I really like. Yeah, let's see what we've got. Yeah, so he's just playing the same character, just in a different universe. Oh,
wait,
why?
Did you say that?
I'd like to add as well. He has one of the lines in the song is "Glory left my hammer." I wonder what he's referring to. Subtle. So yeah, he's yeah. Glory left my hammer, but now I wield the sword. Yeah, my body was dead. I couldn't have been deader, but now I came back one better. Right back one better. Let's see. There's a specific line Alka has pointed out to me. I got stabbed through my old armor made of leather, but guess who's back one better? He's literally just shitting on the old band, saying how he's better than them. And it's annoying because there are aspects of the song I do like. Everything besides the lyrics, I think is pretty decent. Everything besides that, pretty solid. Because I mean, it's a lot of it takes aspects from Orden Ogan, who really just made it all. Besides the lyrics, which I'm assuming were Thomas Winkler, and Orden Ogan might be the best power metal band currently going. They are really fucking good. Like they are on another level when it comes to power metal. So no surprise that it was good then from that perspective. But the lyrics are so unbelievably bad, and the album is so not the album, the song is so subtly petty that it's just bad. It's like Megadeth as a comparison. Again, it's a guy getting kicked out of a band and being pissed about it, making his own band. The whole "I'll make my own with blackjack and hookers" thing. But Dave Mustaine was like, at least like, he was kind of funny about it. Like they had that song on the first Megadeth album, Mechanics, which is just the Four Horsemen riff but faster. That's funny. Like that's just being an asshole, but that's funny.
Yeah.
Or there are a couple of lyrics on that first Megadeth album that do seem to be making implications about his feelings about Metallica, but like they're a bit more introspective than Thomas Winkler saying "Glory left my hammer," which I didn't even realize. I'm just now realizing that was there, and that is so bad on so many levels.
A little bit lame. Yeah.
It's a bit more than lame. It's just cringe. Glory left my fucking I can't get over how bad that is. And it's I love the first three Glory Hammer albums. I'm actually quite excited for the fourth one that's coming out this year. And I liked all of Thomas Winkler's work on there. I think he's really good on there. His live shows can be a bit hit or miss, but God, he has fallen from grace. And honestly,
Glory left his. Yeah, I'm not sure how you'd recursively invoke that, but
Glory's just left him altogether. He should, if he wanted to make a name that was like referring to Glory Hammer, he should just had no Glory Hammer. We're just gonna let that one sit there, aren't we? Either way, I saw Glory Hammer live last year in October with Sozo's Michael now as the vocalist. It was great. I nearly died of heat stroke. It was great. And yeah, they're doing fine. There's some morons in the metal community who refuse to listen to them now because they got cancelled for saying racist stuff. I talked to a guy at a local show. So I didn't pick up on what he said that was stupid until my friend pointed this out to me. So the guy said that he apparently knows some of the members of Glory Hammer, which press X to doubt, and that he believes the allegations against the bassist or whatever, so he refuses to listen to them now. After I just made a passing comment about how I was at one of their shows a few days beforehand, which, you're an asshole already for doing that. Like, if someone tells you they had a good time at a show and your first thought is to go, well, I don't listen to them because they're bad people, like, you're an asshole. Automatically, you're just an like, unless they, like, raped a baby or something, you're an asshole. And then like, a few minutes later, the guy compliments one of my friend's patches on his, like, in his jacket. I didn't realize this because it's a fucking gay-ass black metal band. But apparently the one of the members of that band my friend had a patch of is currently on trial for murdering a baby.
Jesus, that's
So it's the difference of guy being accused of something and you have no evidence of it, so you refuse to listen to band. Don't listen to that band. Baby murder. He's actually on trial for.
Wait,
yeah,
did
fine.
the guy know about the baby murder?
No clue. No clue. But I'm assuming if you know all the details about the Glory Hammer shit, like, you probably know. I know things that people like crimes committed by bands I do not listen to or like, I still know the crimes they commit. I still know that the vocalist for As I Lay Dying hired a hitman on his wife. Don't like that band. Still know he hired a hitman on his wife. And I think that's funny. That's really funny, actually. This is a point I've made before, is that like most famous people are monsters, but at least in metal they're goofy about it. Like, you know, Gary Glitter raping kids is like, there's nothing goofy or funny about that. But, hiring a hitman on your wife, that's goofy. That's really goofy, and that's funny. That's like an entertaining level of evil. So I think that's why metal has the best monsters, because they're goofy as shit.
Or, I mean, I would say burning down a church with nobody in it is obviously, you know, those who are all about property rights would find this to be, you know, the worst thing ever. But yeah, you know, if you're gonna be evil, try to figure out how to maximize the impression of evil while removing human suffering from the equation. I mean, murdering babies, not good.
I mean, you say that, but one of probably the person most famous for burning down churches was Varg Vikernes.
Yeah, which obviously
known murderer Varg Vikernes.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That if he had to make a choice and like only pick one of those evil things to have done,
he probably
I feel like
he still might choose killing Euronymous.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Like, it doesn't sound like he's a good person at all. But
he's goofy though. He's funny. He's have you not seen the video he made about like self-defense training, where he's just like air punching in front of camera?
No, I have not.
He's just goofy. That's my. Let's see if I can find. There's gifs of it. Varg. Time to try spell this. Did I get it? I did. Okay, there's one. I'm trying. Yeah, yeah, look. There's just gifs of him like kicking and punching in front of the camera. It's about he's like an old man at this point as well, and he's just like he may be evil, but he's funny.
I'm glad that he could create a little bit of joy.
Yeah, look.
What are those pants? Are those like
cargo pants?
Supposed to be camo?
I think they might be camo. Yeah.
That's like the worst camo I've ever seen.
Yeah, they are pretty bad. Is that in the first one? Is he wearing the what's it called? That Nazi symbol, the black sun or whatever it's called.
I believe so. You know, oh man, like I forget what that one is called. I don't really keep up with my Nazi symbols.
I can't remember what it's called, but I recognize that. But yeah,
it probably is.
I think it is. Either way, yeah, Varg, probably the most famous awful person in metal. Well, most famous for being awful. Phil Anselmo's pretty awful, but like Varg's famous for being awful. Phil Anselmo's just an asshole for waiting for people to die so he can do a band reunion.
Yeah, that's like a man. We need like more like words for like different grades and flavors of assholes. You know, like because like there's like the assholes that are like.
We should do like an asshole tier list at some point.
We should do an asshole tier list, though. I think you're gonna hate me for where I put Littlefinger. Like I'm like a Littlefinger apologist.
Oh, same.
Wait, what'd you say?
Same. Love that guy.
Oh, okay. Well, that's the thing. Like the fact that he's the origin point for everything that went wrong in Game of Thrones. Like that's the one thing I can't really I can't really do anything to sort of legitimize. But
I just love how much
You
of a
know.
bastard he is.
well, he's interesting because he's a horrible bastard, but at the same time, he has his own code.
No, I just love when he kills Catelyn Stark's sister, and he's like telling her there's only one woman I've ever truly loved, and she's thinking it's her,
Oh.
and then he's just like, your sister, and he pushes her out the fucking thing, based beyond belief.
It was a cold. That was stone cold. I will have to admit, it was fucking hell.
Anyone could have done that, and I would have loved them. Like if Joffrey fucking did it just like he did. Would have loved Joffrey from that moment. It was so incredibly based.
The thing with Joffrey though is because Joffrey's trying to toss out barbs like that 100% of the time. It doesn't feel like you don't have that reveal sense. You don't have
Yeah,
that sense
true.
of like the punchline, right? Whereas with Littlefinger, I mean, we all know
He's a bastard.
about him, but everybody else doesn't. So when he's doing the smiling thing and helping everybody out, da 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 da, and then he's, well, I only ever love one woman, your sister. Wham! Like,
Yeah. Yeah, fair point. Joffrey's like the one child I hate as much as Kuno.
oh god, like I gotta say, credit to that actor, and it's hilarious that he immediately like got out of acting, right? Like
Did he?
talk about, oh yeah, he's like because acting was like a fun thing for him to do, and he like did Joffrey, and apparently he's like a really really really
That's
nice
what I've
guy.
heard,
But then
yeah.
also, some people are just like weird about people who play villains. Like,
Yeah, I'm aware that the actors who played Cersei had like death threats and stuff.
yeah, like I don't know if like the Littlefinger guy got death threats, which that would be, man, if Cersei gets death threats and Littlefinger gets like nothing.
You know what's you know what the worst part about the guy who plays Littlefinger, right, is
What?
the role of his that I think about the most, in my day-to-day life, isn't Littlefinger, and it's entirely
The Wire?
No, I don't like The Wire. No, it's entirely because of a meme. Are you familiar with the "For You Bane posting" meme?
Of course.
That's the one I think about. That's what makes me think about him the most.
I do love. Yeah, it's a great meme. It's a
Oh,
great
it's
meme.
so good. The Bane voice in general is hilarious.
The Bane voice. You are right. I love the Bane voice.
I love it, but it's...
Do you know why he went with the Bane voice?
Isn't there some? It's like a boxer or something. It was based off of. I can't remember who it was.
There was probably a boxer he based it off of, and I remember him saying, or Tom Hardy in an interview saying that he wanted to do a voice that, like, because he's like going through these chemicals and like all the stress and stuff, like he's like prematurely aged. But like, it's hilarious to me that for prematurely aged, instead of just going with like a more gravelly, like worn out thing, he goes with like this weird, like almost, I don't know, professorial. Like there's something just weird about the Bane voice. Like it's again swung for the fences, and in my opinion nailed it, because like, what an impression it makes, right?
I was born in the darkness, molded by... Yeah, it's perfect.
You think the darkness is your ally?
It's a perfect voice, and South
It's a
Park.
perfect voice.
South Park has a really good parody of it as well.
I need to catch up on South Park at some point. There's a lot to catch up on, but
Basically, in the episode, Kyle's wee brother Ike, the one who's like a baby, walks in on his parents having sex, and they have like this role play where Kyle's dad's like the UPS man. So Ike sees this, and he like does this. His parents don't realize he's seen this, so he does like a drawing of a UPS man fucking his mum, and his dad finds this and thinks that the UPS man is like cheating on on his wife's cheating on with the UPS man, and all the other dads in the town like become convinced that the UPS man is sleeping with all their wives because they keep ordering stuff and forgetting about it, that they ordered something. So he thinks that that's like all a scheme so that the UPS man can come around and fuck their wives. So the guy gets into his van, and Randy's wearing a Bane mask with the voice, and it's like, and he's aiming a gun. It's like, and he's like telling him like, "Let's go for a drive," and they take him out to this I can't remember what it's called. They take him out to this area, and all the dads just start beating him up, all with Bane masks on, all with the voice. So they're all like beating him up, and they're all saying shit like, "A man's wife is his life, Mr. UPS man." It's brilliant.
I gotta say, South Park's done a pretty amazing job of keeping themselves fresh.
Yes and no.
From what I hear,
they had a rough patch where they were trying to make it more serialized, and that really backfired in 2020 because 2020 was the election, and they had predicted Hillary was going to win, so they had produced in an episode they because it was serialized. The whole season was building up to Hillary winning, and then what happened.
And then Trump won,
and they dropped some storylines, like they had to completely rewrite everything in a few days. And it became really jarring because the whole thing was that Mr. Garrison was Donald Trump, and like the whole thing was him trying to tell everyone, "Don't vote for me. I'm a terrible candidate. Vote for her," and him not wanting to be president, realizing he's terrible for it, and then randomly they have to make it that he actually does want to be president because he's become president, and there's just this jarring swap between what's happened. It's like, to be fair, it's not entirely their fault. I mean, yeah, it was unfortunate. What happened was unfortunate for them because they had made a prediction and they'd succeeded before with predicting who was going to win. Like, they predicted Obama winning, so they'd made an episode about Obama winning, but this one they just fucked it. And to be fair, I don't think anyone really had a good idea what was going to happen. So I don't blame them for getting it wrong. Like, especially if you weren't following things really closely. If you thought Hillary was going to win, that was the safe guess to say that Hillary was going to win. So I don't blame them, but still, it fucked them, and they never went back to a fully serialized season again. Despite the fact that I think it was that season had some good moments here and there, because like they brought in a character called PC Principal, who you can take a guess what he's like just based on the fact of his name, but he's like he's like a college frat bro who like enforces PC through violence. And there's like a running joke throughout that there's like there's this like girl called Leslie who every time he's doing an assembly she'll be talking to her friend or something, and he'll just like shout at her like in front of everyone, "Leslie, shut the fuck up!" And they end up finding out that she's like a human ad later on in that season. And there's this moment where like PC Principal's like parodying like the Batman Begins when he goes to like that temple and all that, and eventually he returns because of the ads taken over or something, because Leslie's a human ad. So she's like doing her monologue while she's an ad or something, and PC Principal walks in, and he shouts, "Leslie, in a shop," or whatever, and then he like starts beating her up, and he tells her like, this is a grown man beating up a child, and he's like, "Use PC for evil means, that pisses me off." Like holds her up, just says, "You're expelled," and punches straight through her head. It's amazing.
Jesus.
It's so good. Great character. The one that everyone always quotes is that someone used the word retarded in the school newspaper, and he's shouting about how he's going to break their fucking legs, and then it turns out the person who published it was Jimmy, the kid with crippled legs. which is so great character. Like, probably the best addition the show has added in a long while. But yeah, it's been a bit rough, especially because all the streaming deals Matt and Trey signed, that's actually going to go to court, because they signed a deal with HBO Max to have the show on there for a while and for them to do a bunch of episodes for them. Well, no, it wasn't for episodes. They were going to have a few seasons, and then what's it called? Viacom, who owns South Park because it's owned by Comedy Central. They then started their own streaming service called Peacock, and they wanted South Park on there, and they want South Park to make original episodes for them, but they agreed to do the original episodes for and movies for HBO Max. So they are now making special events for Peacock, and the show's going back and forth between these two streaming services. And what they've been doing, which, like, we know what they're doing, is they've been shortening down seasons. So I think it's like 6 episodes for a season now, and then they'll release special events on Peacock, which are basically like 2 episodes. So instead of having a 10 episode season, they're having 6 episode seasons on HBO Max, and then they'll release like 2 special events on Peacock, which are just the 4 episodes they didn't include in the season. So now Warner are suing Viacom for this because it's pretty fucking clear what they're doing. Hell, they even made a special called The Streaming Wars because it's so apparent what they are doing. It's just a mess.
That does sound like a hell of a mess, yeah.
And like, to be fair to Matt and Trey, it's not entirely their fault. They did sign those agreements, but I don't think they could have predicted when they signed the HBO deal that Viacom were going to make their own streaming service. To be fair to them, and Viacom clearly didn't either. And Matt and Trey are also like making fun of it. Like they made a special called The Streaming Wars. I've just seen this on the PCM server. I don't want to leak anything, so I might end up. I'll write down the timestamp now, in case they don't want this coming out. 146, right? So I can now openly speak free. Pommy made up a post saying how he wants to like talk about plans for the future of the show, and somehow him and Proxy are now talking about Greece taking over the world. Like 8 episodes in, not 8 messages in, like they're talking about like making making they're talking about the Greece protests.
Oh, wait, the old server that I left?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there you go then.
Yeah. I'm just gonna message some PCM staying on topic moment. Yep, owned the lips. Back to our show. I didn't care if I put this up. All I'm really saying is that they're looking at starting again, so, and that they can't stay on topic to save their fucking lives, which we know. I can't either, but either way.
Either way.
I mean, to be fair, we were worse when you when we'd have Santoro on. Somehow, we would. You would. I was never on that show. No one could ever stay on topic when he was there. Which does not mean.
Yeah.
It's just not me having to go Santoro. I like Santoro a lot. I think he's cool. But.
Yeah. No, it probably projects an aura that disrupts linear thinking.
Still have no clue if he likes me or dislikes me. He's
What? I think he likes you.
He's a hard man to read.
Oh, he's no, he does keep his thoughts close to his chest in certain ways.
I mean, that's a good trait to have while living in China.
Yeah, no, I'll agree with you on that one, Brad.
No, I can never get a read on I can never get a read on what his feelings on me are. I like the guy though. He's cool.
Yeah.
I do still think it's funny how, at least according to you two, he's really, really fat. He's got a tiny Chinese wife. That's, like, just the mental image of that is really funny to me.
Yeah, no, he's definitely rocking like the Hagrid style, except probably more bulbous.
Oh my god! Like, I think I established in the last episode that I'm over a foot taller than my girlfriend, and I feel huge compared to her. So I can't imagine being. Well, he's 6'1", if I remember correctly.
Yep.
So, sorry, John, for just leaking your height, but
you might want to bleep his name, considering you just said.
He said on the show.
Fair enough, but there's something hilarious about you referring to him as Centero, and then
Look,
anyway, keep going.
I feel no need to bleep either yours or his names because both of you have said it multiple times on PCM.
That's fair enough.
Like and even then, they're common names.
This is true.
If I said my real name, it becomes painfully obvious who I am, because there's very few people with that name. Like we're talking like triple digits. That's how few people there are. So if I said my name right now, yeah, and then you break down how many people who have that name live in Scotland, it becomes painfully obvious who I am immediately. So yeah, not gonna. But like if I call you Andrew, if I call John, like that gives nothing away.
True.
There's probably more than one. There's probably quite a few Johns in Japan, just based on the fact that it's a common name. It's got to be one of the most common names in like Christian countries.
Yeah, no, I'll agree with that.
Same with Andrew's probably quite common as well. I know at least 3 people over here called Andrew. That's just here in Scotland. Like,
well, Scotland, I think actually like might have a little bit
more of it. Well, I mean, we've got a place called St. Andrews, so.
Yeah. St. Andrew is the patron saint of Scotland, so I'd assume like you might have like a little bit more of an uptick than like other places, but it's a common name.
Exactly. I mean, it's the same thing with like if I said homies, I'm not gonna say homies because I've told him I'm not gonna say his, but his is according to him half the Greek population have it. Not saying it.
Say it.
I am very good at keeping people's real names quiet. I know Alkai's real name. His full name. No one has. I learned that like right when we started, like maybe a few weeks after we started recording. No one has heard it. All right, there. I need a longer bleep sound effect because I realized when I was bleeping stuff out earlier this week, I had like a 2-second bleep sound effect, so I just kept putting the same file over and over again. But it creates this like it basically just goes bleep blank bleep blank. I need to get like a longer one. Because I'm gonna have to do that. What's the time right now for the recording? 1:53. There you go. Got all times I'm gonna have to actually edit for once. I notice how I only ever edit when it affects me.
You know,
that's just being selfish, but like
it's a low standard, but it's a standard.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I did say to everyone on the last show, if you genuinely mess up, I will edit it out. If you say something that is clearly like, if you have an anti-Semitic rant, and you go on for minutes, or you make a very clear comment that wasn't a mistake, I'm not editing that. Because we had a issue with Off-Right making like international Jew comments, and then going, like, after we were done, would DM me going, hey, can you edit this out, can you edit this out? And it's like, no, don't make the fucking comments.
I mean,
even
to be
then,
honest, you might want to edit out this mention as well, because
why?
Anyway,
I'm not saying.
Can I at least go on record that I like Jews?
I'm not. What I said.
I got massive problems with Israel, but as far as like the Jewish people in general, nothing but good experiences on my side.
I would like to point out what I said there was not pro or anti-Jewish.
Oh, that's true. It was reporting
neutral.
a circumstance that happened, or reporting a conversation that occurred in a previous.
In fact, it was pretty not favorable towards anti-Semites. No, it was a neutral take, and that's what
neutral take.
And that's what all my takes on the Jews have been so far in this show. Neutral.
Yeah, though I'm a little bit weirded out by like the revival of anti-Semitism these days. But then again, I mean, it's been a thing in Western civilization for like the last 2,000 years, but was not expecting it to come back this hard recently.
I mean, I'm not too surprised, to be honest. In the way that it's like there's a lot of them in positions of power. Like a lot, like a vast overrepresentation. So the idea that people would realize, hey, my life is shit, and then see this group vastly overrepresented in positions of power. Average Scott's household, no one knows how to knock on a fucking door.
Okay. Like, do you know the YouTube channel like Tier Zoo?
No, I don't.
Okay, it's like it's this channel that like analyzes various like builds in like reality, generally focusing around animals and like which animals are like OP and which animals have like a really good stat distribution, which animals have like abilities that and then like that's the idea, like Tier Zoo. It's like doing tier lists for animals, analyzing them as if this was all a video game.
All right, yeah.
And the thing I gotta say is like I feel that there's certain like if you're looking at like what would be it, like Crusader Kings or Europa Universalis, oftentimes they like stat out like what different cultures give you like what different bonuses on, or what like national ethics or whatever. Like, and if you're looking at like cultural groups and what they prioritize, like I do have to say
Asia number
that
one.
I feel like what'd you say?
Asia number one.
Well, no, that's the thing. I would say like Ashkenazi Jews are really like S tier, right? And a lot of Asia is also pretty high tier, though the emphasis on sort of like group harmony and less tradition at this point after like the modernization efforts. But like if you look at like ancient China, like it was a really stable country because stability and like the bureaucracy and the meritocracy of people that were all like keeping the center made that country like whoop ass, right? But it also made it like inflexible. So but I'll the Asia number one comment. I mean, Asia's got some good cultural ethics, but like no, if you look at it's sort of like, well, what sort of cultural ethics do like Ashkenazi Jews in the West have? And it's like, well, one, survive, two,
Stingy.
like education, education, interaction with outside groups while also maintaining like a strong focus on like the continuity of one's own group, because most of the pitfalls that like groups that have a strong like internal culture have is insularness, right? Like if you've got groups that generally are like, we got to take care of our own, one of the main things they do is like block themselves off from others, right? Which obviously means that it's kind of harder to trade, hard to get like, intellectual influences and take the best from them. And yeah, it's just like if somebody sits here and goes like, but look at how many like professors are Jewish. It's like, well, you're talking about like a culture that literally like the religious people are like, study brings you closer to God, as opposed to like ignoring facts and only believing in something brings you closer to God. Like between people from those two cultures, which do you think are more likely to become educated? It's not like rocket science here, guys. So that's
what I was saying was neutral. All I'm saying is that to your common man, it's not really surprising to see and look at all the, because like the average person's life is kind of shit. To make them look at who's in power and they go, oh, there's a group that's overrepresented, and then they go to hate that group. That's not a surprising take.
It's a sad take, though. It's a sad take. It's not, like we should.
It's neutral. I'm going full centrist, full neutral.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go live left on this one. That's and I always feel bad because it feels like we're ending on a note that's just sort of like a little dropping into a little fizzle after we had so much fun mocking black metal bands that were eating babies and shit.
Yeah. Look, blame them. The off-rights kept bringing it up, and this is like a. I don't know. It rubs off on you when you work with so many people who constantly bring this shit up. To be fair, I stayed neutral on it, and I was just saying some people I used to work with were fucking morons about that. To be fair, they're not the worst people I've worked with. The worst person I worked with on the show, and I will actually say his name because fuck him, was Man in a Chair. He was in one episode, the first one. Fucking hate that guy. I've been publicly saying I do not like him at all. He's just a pretentious douchebag.
Oh, I don't think I ever
Good.
interacted
Good.
with.
He's literally just a pretentious asshole.
What was his lib left?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
He was the lib left in the first ever episode. I hate the man personally. He's just he's just a dick. He just has a. It was also that, and just he like the first episode sucks. Don't go watch the first episode of PCM podcast. It's bad.
I'm just imagining you like from now on. You're like, you all should go check out this podcast, except the first episode.
Oh, the first and third. Don't watch the third either. There were multiple factors to why the first one sucked. There was the fact that it was the first time I'd ever done something like that, so I was incredibly nervous and said basically nothing the entire time. There was the fact that the two people who spoke the most were Proxy and Paliaki, both of whom have questionable mics and accents, so I understood basically none of what was being said. And Man in the Chair was refusing to let us tangent in the slightest. So I made a joke about the God Emperor Trump stuff that people unironically make, and we're all laughing and joking about it, and then he's immediately like, well, back on topic, and it's like, we're having a fucking funny joke here, you cunt, just let us finish it. And like, yeah, he was bad on the episode, and like in conversations I've had with him outside of it, he's just a dick. Like, I don't think he realised how young I was, to be fair. don't think he realised I was 17 because he seemed to find it really funny that I live with my parents. I'm still in
Yeah.
school.
If wait. He was like mocking you for living with with your parents.
I think we were playing like Gartic Phone or something, and I don't know why it came up. I made a comment about how I still do, and he seemed to find that funny.
Okay, no, it just I don't know. Like live left, like of all the quadrants that should be understanding about someone who needs to live with their parents because like they sort of got to due to the situation. Like, anyway, let's make an official statement here to anybody listening to this podcast. If
Fuck
you
my
have
chair.
to live with your parents due to not having enough money or not being the age of adults, like we understand where you're coming from.
I mean, in this country, you can live by yourself at 16, but like my house is like 4 minutes from my school, so why the fuck would I move out?
Yeah, generally, if your parents aren't dicks, it's cheaper to live with your parents. So,
Like, I'm still in high school. If I moved, it would be more of a walk. There was like nowhere I could move.
Yeah, and if I didn't live in Japan, I'd probably be living with my parents. Just because it's like I don't have. Well, it depends on if I.
You don't.
What'd you say?
You don't have like a significant other or something, so.
Yeah, I don't have a significant other. I mean, granted, I probably wouldn't actually be living with my parents because I'd be somewhere where like the job market was better than where they live. But like, if I had a job in the same city as my parents, I'd probably be living with my parents.
Well, that's just what I mean about like that guy being a pretentious douchebag. You've never noticed I can't take a full podcast stand on disliking him, but like this is not the first time I've actually publicly like said on an episode or something that I dislike this guy. No one's really talked to him since the second server got shut down, but yeah, glad I've never had to work with him again. Like I was saying to Homie when we were talking, we said on the last one we'd be down for a final episode of PCM. Well, you would, and we can try talk to Angus about that. But like I think my idea for what we would do for that is try bring back everyone who'd ever been on the show, at least in some way.
Yeah,
he's the one I'm saying no. No.
Good lord, that's man, you must have really not enjoyed working with him. Wow.
He is one of two people I refuse to work with.
Good lord.
Yeah, like genuinely, they wouldn't bring him back. But if they did for a final episode, I refuse to come on it. Even like having my name alongside him, no. Even if we're not even on at the same time, I just say no. That's how much I dislike this guy.
Good lord.
All you need to know is this is not the first time I've been on a podcast and had a rant about how much I dislike this guy. He's never gonna see it.
I think I'm gonna go have to listen to the first PCM podcast at some point just to see like what exactly was going on here.
He just railroaded a lot, but like I wasn't fond of the guy after recording that, but it was like conversations I'd had with him afterwards where I just really grew to dislike him.
Okay.
But it was a lot of railroading, and even after the first episode came out, the first thing I said was like, that was too railroaded. We should railroad it less. Because I didn't think it was good. Part of that's on me. Part of that is on me, to be fair. I did not say a lot. I did not understand the accents, or at least not adjusted to them, and I was nervous. I'll admit that. I'll admit that was the first time I'd done anything like that. Hell, I was 16 at the time when we recorded that. Was I?
You were a wee, was it a wee little babe? But
yeah, I was questioning if I was 15 when we recorded, and I was 16. And to be fair, I think if I told them how old I was when I re-recorded that, they wouldn't have let me on. I didn't tell them how old I was. To be fair, they
I mean,
they
what
just
does it take
assumed.
you less serious? At least, probably.
Yeah, I think they just assumed like they were really desperate for someone, so I think they just assumed when I said I could do it that this guy's got to be he's probably in his early 20s or something. And I don't think I sound 17, so I don't think they ever realized. But yeah, looking back, shouldn't have let me on. And if someone who's 16 tries to come on this, no. I think we should stick with this because the rule on the old show was that if you were younger than me, you weren't allowed on. So I think
So just stick with that rule.
yeah. Well, until I turn 18. Then once I turn 18, I think the rule should just be 18 and up.
Okay. I'll work with that. That seems good to me.
I do quite like the old rule of if they're younger than me, they're too young. Because, well, if I didn't do most of the work, I would have probably been told I was too young once they found out how young I was. It was like I only told them after like 5 or 6 episodes, and at that point you can't kick your most consistent member and the guy who edits for you and the guy who records for you because he's like a year or 2 years too young. At that point you're like, oh fuck, we just have to keep him. And everyone liked me too, so you kind of got rid of me at that point.
Yeah, you did. Establish yourself in the ecosystem.
Yeah. It almost feels like we're talking about the show like it's dead at this point, but like I don't know, like my feelings on the show are mixed. I don't know if I'd say I miss it though, and that's not me shitting on anyone who worked on that show. It's I don't know. I find the schedule a bit draining. Like I can't. The whole working on something every week. Like the only reason we're doing this 2 weeks in a row is because my girlfriend's got like a open day up at university for everyone listening. Like that's the only reason we're doing this again this week, because then I would have missed because I'm gonna miss next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the only reason this is happening. So yeah, it's entirely I couldn't work on a weekly schedule. Editing every week is fucking draining, especially because like I had people, I'm not gonna name names, but I had people on the show who were like, you should be doing more to edit, and it's like, motherfucker, your job is to show up and speak. My job is to show up and speak, record, and then edit it. You're just pretty fucking easy, and then they're expecting me to like cut out any like uhs and ahs and stuff, and it's like I did that for one episode, it underperformed, and it took 15 hours to edit. Fuck that. Like I genuinely want to off myself by the end of editing that one. That was dreadful. And
Yeah, please don't off yourself, but I do feel you in terms of.
And again, I'm not gonna name any names. The only person I disliked working with was Man the Chair. Everyone else, neutral view on. If I dislike someone, I will just say who they are, because I don't care. Like, I have no issue burning a bridge with someone I think is an asshole. So. Look. Yeah. Sorry, we're just quickly taking epilepsy medication.
It's all good.
Yeah, so
But I think, yeah, it's important to know what what's good to work with you and stuff. Otherwise,
I think
I'll let you go.
I think the moral of this all is don't make weekly podcasts. unless you have unless you have like Joe Rogan money, don't do it.
Yeah.
Or unless you're like a masochist who loves editing, don't do it. It's not worth it. It's especially if you have to talk about politics every week. Like only that? Like no, fuck that. Like that's just no one wants to do that. I'm kind of just done with politics at this point. It's just divide and conquer.
Oh no.
Oh no, I know.
Oh no, I wanted to talk about politics. Though I hope you don't mind if on this channel I occasionally put up like side story rants. I think it would be awesome if we both put up side story rants occasionally.
That's fine. Yeah, that's no issue. Like I can talk about politics. I just am done caring.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I mean, in terms of like when I look at the U.S. political situation, it's draining just to think about it. And I mean, obviously, you know, like the UK has its own issues it's dealing with. EU's got its own issues it's dealing with. Japanese politics is so mired in like gerontocracy that like it feels like, you know, if some guy gets into government and he's like 65 years old, it's like, oh man, like the young blood, finally, you know.
Yeah, no. UK politics is probably worse than US politics, to be honest.
Good lord.
We probably have the worst political situation in the world, maybe the world, at least the West. Ours is rough.
What is going on?
Well, we have the government's fucking incompetent. We have like a right wing government who are too left wing and a left wing government who are too right wing, but the especially over here in Scotland, like the media is very left wing, so they act like this right wing party who are far too left wing to be called a right wing party are like alt right when it's like they're not in the slightest, like not even close. And that left wing party are too right wing, like 100%. And that's why people like go crazy if you say the Conservative Party should be conservative. Like, how could it be more right wing? It's like, yeah, but I also want the left wing party to be more left wing. And like people's brains don't comprehend that concept. Like I think we should have a left wing party and a right wing party and a centrist party. Like,
yeah, and you know, having
currently no one's views get represented.
And it is one of those things where like, yeah, two-party systems just do seem to get into bad situations.
They always end up in the same area of off-right, just one slightly more to the left of off-right and one slightly more to the right of off-right. And it's a disaster. We've got the cost of living crisis, which everyone loves to talk about, and I'm not gonna because I can't be bothered. They're apparently trying to ban migrants now, which, fair enough. I have said before, sniper towers, pretty good option. I'm kind of sick of these migrants taking the fucking piss. And just in general, it's a mess. It's a mess. The left wing parties also just they aren't for like your average working man anymore. They're just spouting identity politics bullshit. Like you probably, if you go watch the Labour conference, you'll probably hear trans comrades more than you hear anything about working men. And they're about to go, and it looks like they're going to win the next election and to go into power. Which, like, the reason like England and Wales don't have freedom of speech is because of the last Labour government, and they were more right wing than these guys. But like the guys we currently have aren't even an opposition party. like, I think I've talked about this before, how vaccine passports should have been a slam dunk for the Labour Party and they fucked it. Because Boris Johnson went to put them in, extremely unpopular. All Labour have to do is just say, if we get voted in, we won't do them. Slam fucking dunk. That's easy. Your polling will skyrocket if he just said that, right? No, he said, oh, I agree with Boris Johnson's doing, and I think they're not going far enough. How did he fuck it that bad?
I mean,
that's not an opposition party.
Well, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing I'm going to say, right? Japan does the opposition party thing, right? And when I say that, what I mean is the opposition party is a whole bunch of people that originally
it was started last time. Yeah, it was just started by people from the same party.
Exactly. So they left, and then they're like, well, how can you win an election if you're the same people? And the answer is you look at whatever the other person does that you think you might be able to, like, win by taking the opposite position, you take the opposite position. Now, the problem with this is it means you have no coherent philosophy of governing.
Either way, it's just... We have no party who have opposing policies. We have one party who are bad, and we have one party who are worse. And the worst one's about to go into power by the looks of it. Because people don't look into individual parties, they just go, oh, well, they're the other big ones, we need to vote for them despite they're worse. Like, what's his name? Fucking Tony Blair, who was the last Labour Prime Minister, did more damage to his country than you could imagine. The fact he has a knighthood is appalling. He probably should be hung more than given a knighthood. No war criminal, Tony Blair. That gives you an idea. The last Labour Prime Minister was a war criminal.
Forgot that ever since then it's been conservative.
Yeah, well, conservative, giant finger quotes. They were all wankers. David Cameron, wanker. Dude resigned after Brexit was voted for, which says everything.
It says everything. It's sort of like, oh, I'm gonna have to implement this. No, I'm not. Like, y'all have fun with that. Ugh.
That and the fact that he was a globalist shell. He was a neoliberal front for Theresa May. Wanker, but did a few decent things here and there. Like, I don't like her, but to be fair to her, she did decent things here and there. I'll give her that. Here and there being a very big distance, but it was she wasn't all bad. Still don't like her. Boris Johnson, biggest disappointment of my lifetime. I was expecting tons of memes like Donald Trump and him to be like an actual British conservative, like how a lot of his posturing made him out to be. And then he just kind of came off as another neoliberal globalist. And yeah, that was really disappointing. And then you had Truss, moving on. And then we have Sunak, who isn't a real person. He's not.
I don't know too much about Sunak, but like,
I'm pretty sure his wife is like a banker. I think he's a banker as well, actually. A lot of money tied around him. He's quite clear.
He just comes off as like, so rich that he has no idea what like normal human beings deal with.
Yeah, that genuinely. I don't think he's real. He actually comes. He comes off as like Patrick Bateman. Like, I genuinely, like, Patrick Bateman's like morning routine. I genuinely believe he does that. Like, how Patrick Bateman doesn't like speak like a normal person. Like, there's just that air of like fakeness to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, running everything through a filter, and
That's how Sunak comes off. So literally no one likes him because he's part of the Conservative Party, so the left-wing people automatically hate him for some reason. your average like British workman dislikes him because he's not British. So I mean I've heard quite a few curry muncher comments made about him. And anyone who like actually looks into who he is as a person just go no thanks. So literally no one likes this man. Conservatives don't like him because, as they said, curry muncher.
No wait, doesn't everybody in England, in like the UK, eat curry at this point? Like not every day, but like.
No, I don't like curry.
Okay, fair enough. But I mean, it sort of feels like if some guy like turned in America and looked at like an Italian dude and went, huh, pizza muncher. It's like. It's this.
To be fair, when I make fun of Indian people, I prefer the term street shitter, but I'm allowed to make.
Wait, what?
I prefer the term street shitter because they shit in the street, but I think it's better than curry muncher. But and I would like to add, I have Indian friends. I'm allowed to make that joke. They think it's funny. To defend myself.
I'm gonna like take the reserve cover. Andrew having a little PSA in the corner here. If you've got friends that enjoy these jokes and you say it to them, hey, it's between friends. But in general,
I'd like to also add that I've been told by Indian people it's true they do shit in the streets. They actually.
Okay, well.
In one district of India, they actually had to have like a mascot and like a suit, like a Disney character, whose entire purpose was to tell people to shit in the toilet, not in the street.
Yeah, and I do imagine that like, of the ethnic Indian people that like leave India would probably be the ones who would be like, yeah, these are the problems that India has. But nonetheless. A word of respect to all the people of all the ethnicities across the world.
I'm not dissing India. Like, I know India. As I said, I'm friends with some Indian people. Like, they're cool in my books.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're an ethnicity I won't be neutral on. I'll just go out and just say I like them. They're cool. So no issue with Indian people. I still do make street shit and jokes because it's funny. Like, there are jokes about every ethnicity that are funny, including my own. I think
that was actually.
I think Greenskeeper
sorry.
Willie.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's make a quick comment. I think Greenskeeper Willie is hilarious. So I think mocking all ethnicities is fun.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. At the same time, like, I wish that we lived in a world where like that was something like. How do I put this? I find it amusing when people make fun of like American stuff, right? I forget. I was talking with my Spanish friend, with my Hispanic American friend and me, and made some jokes about like sort of the idea that like there are many Americans who would not realize that there was a country named Spain that invented the language Spanish, as opposed to Spanish just being Mexican and like south of the border, sort of, because Americans are pretty bad with the geography and the history.
I'm pretty bad with
geography,
to be
so
fair.
What'd you say?
I'm pretty bad with geography, to be fair.
To be fair,
I can't give American shit for that.
But it is one of those things where when it's good natured, like totally, yeah, like it's wonderful when people give each other shit and it's all fun and games. And it's sad when it's not, But it does remind me of do you know Slavoj Žižek?
Yeah, you've mentioned him a few times.
Oh yeah. Oh sorry. Yeah. He's like a lib left that is actually like big into the people should totally sit around and offend each other in a friendly way thing, which is pretty rare, I'd say, in this quadrant of the politics sphere.
Yeah, but I think you've mentioned him a few times on the PCM.
Sorry,
it's no issue.
My aged brain occasionally goes into.
To be fair, I probably have like early onset dementia. I was talking to a mate of mine about the movie Megamind, and I got
Oh yeah,
I got it mixed up with the Lorax.
Megamind and the Lorax. That's
So it's the song from the Lorax, the How Bad Can I Be one. I thought it was from,
Yeah.
I thought it was from Megamind.
oh.
And
I mean, given the title, sounds like it could be in Megamind. I don't think I've heard the song though.
it's not good. The Lorax movie is incredibly ironic. There was like a competition where they were like giving away a car for the Lorax.
That's painful.
Yeah, I somehow got those two mixed up. And it was rough because I was making a joke about that song from the Lorax, and I called it. I called it the song from Megamind, and my mate had no fucking clue what I was talking about. And eventually, I had to like sing part of the song to like to like say this is the song I'm talking about, and it was him quickly realizing that's from fucking the Lorax, you moron. I might have like early onset dementia, I think. I mean, isn't like dementia hereditary as well?
I mean, at this point, I think there's multiple different aspects to it. There's a hereditary aspect. There's a did you eat beef? Okay, you might have prions destroying your brain. We won't know until you're dead and do an autopsy. And then there's also, like, I think that regular mental activity, like, also helps.
Yeah, there was like that study. It was like, oh, I play video games. It doesn't give you dementia.
Yeah. So,
And then there's just like head injury as well.
oh yeah. Don't go boxing unless you like just punch each other in the dick or something.
Yeah, that, and don't do the diving headbutt if you're a wrestler. Harley.
Yeah, don't.
Harley Race has told people not to do it. We've had two people get murdered and a man commit suicide over that move. Don't do it. It's not worth it.
It looks like not drinking much alcohol and not smoking are also dementia preventers. So
Oh, I'm pretty good then.
yeah, no, it's
Let's just hope I don't go start doing the diving headbutt then.
yeah. Regular physical activity is good as long as it's not diving headbutts.
Yeah. Watch Brian.
Healthy eating.
Watch-
Good luck with that.
Yeah. Watch Brian Danielson go murder his wife and Jesus Christ, that was. I started that. I'm not gonna finish that joke. That was mean. That was me joking about an actual murder suicide. Jesus Christ. What happened to Chris Benoit wasn't funny. Just gonna say that now.
Yeah.
I may download him in all the wrestling games and use him, and maybe book him into storylines in my universe mode that are to do with murder suicides, but it wasn't funny.
Yeah, and just a note to everybody out there: if you're in a situation where you think your partner might be gearing up to murder you and commit suicide, get out of the relationship, but take care when you do so, because apparently when you get out of a relationship is the most dangerous period. But you don't need to live a life of fear and walking on eggshells and abuse. You deserve to live the happy life that you deserve.
And if you see them listening to As I Lay Dying and you already have these fears, be extra afraid.
Yeah, take care. Take care out there, people.
Well, to be fair, if you're gearing up to murder your spouse, they probably listen to Pantera more than they listen to As I Lay Dying.
I mean,
I love
I can't really attest to either way on that one.
I love Pantera, but they are the white beer band.
Oh God.
I mean, that's what it's like. The joke that always gets made is it's like one of those like stock photo images of like a man's fist in front of like a woman laying on the floor, crying, and it'll be like average Pantera fan.
Jesus, I didn't realize that was the image of Pantera fans. Good lord.
I like Pantera.
Good lord.
No, it's because quite a lot of them are like. Well, the metal scene in America is very different to the metal scene in Europe in the way that the Americans try to appear like hard men, and so quite a lot of them, like, the image of Pantera fans is like boomer MAGA Republicans, like the other joke I hear is that it's like Pantera is the music the high school bully's dad listens to.
God!
If that gives you an idea.
That feels like it's one of those painfully accurate sort of things. But
Yeah.
a high school bully's dad listens to. Oh.
When he comes in his pickup truck to pick him up.
Oh God.
Great band. Poor reputation. Yeah, that's Phil Anselmo's fault. But that is pretty accurate. And yeah, they do kind of have they're one of the. I personally wouldn't call them bro metal, but they're kind of adjacent to bro metal. Like the the example of bro metal, that's like, have you ever listened to Five Finger Death Punch?
No, I've heard
bad.
of them, but they're bro metal.
They get called. It's a insult term thrown at them. They're bad. I know Homie likes them, but they're bad. They are like the MAGA metal band. I'm pretty sure they did like stuff to do with Blue Lives Matter. Like, unironically. I'm looking this up now. Let's see. Five Finger Death Punch Zoltan Bafri responds to past police support. Here. Blue Lives. Oh my god. Five Finger Death Punch new music video highlights the thin blue line. Oh god. Oh. They have a song called Blue on Black. That's unfortunate.
Jesus.
Five Finger Death Punch singer says Minneapolis cops deserve an obvious fucking need for justice. Yeah, yeah, they all seem to be quite pro-police. Former Five
first
Finger
responders.
Former Five Finger
Like,
Death
donating-
Punch drummer
yeah.
sworn as reserve police officer. Yeah, they do seem to like the police.
Well, here's the thing, right? Like, if you take the corruption out of the police, which, that's a big if, I don't think there's... I think... Like, I'm one of those people that would like ACAB to not be something that people feel needs to be said, right? But holy shit, man, the system's so fucked right now. It's so fucked.
I do love...
In the UK, cops aren't like this weird dystopian state-enforced gang that, like, whenever they plant drugs on people.
They are.
Like...
What doctors are?
They are. Oh, shit. Oh, shit.
And then they murder women as well. Let's see, yeah.
Though,
no,
that's one actually thing I'll give Japan, is, like, the cops here are... granted, the cops can verge on a little bit too useless sometimes, right? Like, I've had my phone stolen and activated GPS and got a printout of it and went to the, like, police station, was like, hey, like, could you go to this house and just say, like, look, we're not going to charge anything, but, like, in that bag were a whole bunch of school books that you can't use. You probably don't know where to sell them, and the person who like owned them needs them. So could you just give it back? And they were like, no, we can't do that. Just if you file a report, we can just report it as missing, and if somebody like finds it, we'll let you know. And I'm like, I have found it. It's right here. And they're like, yeah, we can't do anything about that.
Christ.
Which, granted, the U.S. side, on the other hand, feels like it would be like, wait, you're white? Okay, well, we don't know what race the other guy is, but we have probable cause here. Lock and load. It's gonna be a fun evening. Which might be a little bit too far, you know. But on the other hand, though, Japan's police, you don't hear too much about them, doing abuse of power. So
I would like to add that I think it's funny that Five Finger Death Punch is so pro-police, because I've got the lead singer Ivan Moody's Wikipedia page up. He has a legal issue section. He was arrested by Australian Federal Police for drunkenly assaulting a female flight attendant. He was then arrested again the next year in Las Vegas for domestic battery by strangulation. And he told his wife, I'm going to fucking kill you, before repeatedly punching her. And then in August of 2015, it was revealed his sister, along with his mother, have filed restraining orders against him for his history of violence with women. This is the guy back in the police.
Jesus.
Average Pantera fan. Yeah, that's your average police supporter.
Jesus. Alright, well, thank you for educating me about Five Finger Death Punch.
Homie, you may be listening to this. This is the band you like. Remember that. I specifically used an episode to make fun of a friend of mine for liking a band. Nice one. I could have insulted my girlfriend for liking Slipknot, so... I mean, I could right now if I wanted to, but... Nah, it's a low blow.
Yeah.
Like in Slipknot.
Let's end it.
Like in Slipknot.
Let's end it. Do you? I hope you don't. Do you mind if we like start to?
Oh,
I think
yeah.
It's been a pretty good one. Ended on a high note of friends don't let friends listen to Five Finger Death Punch.
That might be the title I use instead, actually. That's a pretty good one. You could have. I can see if I can try to get AI art of like me with like my hand on Homie's shoulder while he's looking down at the album cover. That could be pretty good.
Yeah. I think that's the lesson we learned today. Is friends don't let friends listen to Five Finger Death Punch.
Yeah. Let's go straight to out. Do we need an outro? I think we got it here.
Oh, that was the outro.
Yeah.
This has been Anderfield and Alistair Cade with a public service announcement. We hope that you too, as a friend, do not let your friends listen to Five Finger Death Punch. Thanks for coming. We'll see you again soon.
Yeah. All right. Done.